what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. How concerned should you be as an LSU fan if Jayden Daniels is hurt for this game? And in an effort to answer this question, Jake, I have tried to look into some numbers and tried to come up with, okay, what's a reasonable expectation for what Florida will score? And then let's see if we think that, how you would feel about that number, maybe going through the thought process of what if there's no Jayden Daniels. So first off, look, let's talk about elements of the offense, right? When you look at the running back position, Etienne and Montel Johnson are pretty good, pretty solid duo there. They both average over 60 yards a game. Etienne's actually fifth in the SEC, averages over 6 yards a carry. Johnson averages over 5, so they're okay there. Ricky Pearsall is the guy that's going to have big moments in this game and will tear you up at times. Just accept that, make peace with it, the same way you did Luther Burden or anybody else. Even though I don't think Burden's stats ended up overwhelming after the strong. No, they did, right? He had like 100 yards the first half. I'm trying to remember exactly. Maybe that was that he didn't find the end zone.
Yeah, remember they kind of spread the wealth in that game.
Yeah, well, whatever. Ricky Pearsall's fifth in the SEC with 85 yards a game. He's fourth in the SEC with 6 catches a game. He's got 4 touchdowns in the year. It's a very good receiver. He had that incredible Michael Jordan logo catch earlier this year. And then you look at Graham Mertz, who for some unknown reason they allow to wear number 15. Why anybody's allowed to wear 15 in Florida, I have no idea. Why Graham Mertz of all quarterbacks is, I don't know. But
it was on a kicker like 2 years ago.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Is that Florida, that's part of the problem. I mean, just absolutely no respect for the greats. Graham Mertz completed 74% of his passes this year. That's really good. 267 yards a game, 17 touchdowns, 2 picks. Only 8 yards per attempt, though, right?
Yeah.
And the rating's not as high as you would feel like it would be with that touchdown to pick ratio, and that's because it is a little check downy. It's a little conservative. And that's kind of the Florida offense as a whole, right? They've got some good yardage numbers, some things that feel like they should reflect really well, but then you look up and they're like 9th in the SEC in scoring. But we know this is an awful LSU defense. So here's the part you need to pay attention to, Jake. Let's look at the points that Florida's put up in their games this year and try to find defenses that are similar to LSU's. They put up 36 against Arkansas.
Yep.
Arkansas is 63rd in stop rate. Stop their opponent from scoring 63% of the time. They put up 20 against UGA. Obviously, UGA is second in the country. They're incredible. They put up 41 against South Carolina. South Carolina, 122 in stop rate.
Yeah, I think they're 122 in total defense as well, which is crazy. Yeah.
You put up 29 against Tennessee. Now, Tennessee's got a good defense. They're 28th in stop rate. That's really damn good. And they put up 38 against Vanderbilt, who currently ranks 126th in stop rate. Now,
117 in total defense.
Where does LSU rank? And again, stop rate is just whenever a team touches the ball, do they score or not? So very simple. LSU is 110th in stop rate. Not to brag, guys. Remember, spend half the season as dead last in the Power 5, 65 out of 65. By my count, LSU's now up to 58 out of 65. Okay, but if we look at these other defenses, like I'm not going to count UGA. I'm going to throw them out because they're second in the country, and I'll throw out Tennessee. I'll keep in Arkansas, even though they're 40 spots better than you. So if we average Arkansas, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt, defenses which are akin to LSU's, Florida put up 38 points a game. 38 points a game. And yes, if it's Jayden Daniels playing, I don't care, right? Like LSU's good enough, LSU keep pace. How do you feel, Jake, knowing that against similar defenses, they put up 38 if you don't have Jayden Daniels? That starts to become a bit worrying to me.
Yes, and so like Jayden Daniels is, in my opinion, still the best overall quarterback in the country. As a Heisman voter, like it's still going to be somebody that I strongly consider having at the top of my ballot. Because, yes, I realize the record, but I also realize he's doing things that nobody else is doing on the field. So, yes, there is no situation where I can come on here, be truthful, and say, oh, no, you're not going to miss him at all. It's fine. No, he's Jayden Daniels. You're going to miss him. But also, you do have the luxury of having one of, if not the best backup quarterback situations in America.
Well, we think so, right?
No.
That's what we got to find out.
I feel like we know more than think so. Like, it's not full, like, it's going to happen. It's not full water boy. That's what it's going to be. It ain't quite there. But I think this is somebody that you've put a lot of resources into. You've put a lot of time and effort into. He's put a lot of time and effort into. We're talking about Garrett Nussmeier, obviously. He's come in big situations, SEC championship games. He's coming to a game where he didn't even think he was going to play, and all of a sudden he looks up, he's playing the entire game. He comes in last week. This is what you felt good about. You can't go back now because it's actually going to happen if Jayden Daniels doesn't play and start to feel worried about it. This is somebody that we've said all season long, right? You have the best quarterback situation in America, and if it has to play out this way, you have to believe the offense can go out there and put up points. Is it going to look like Jayden Daniels-led offense? No, the scheme is going to change a bit.
Yeah.
We know that. Like, you're going to change your scheme because, well, Garrett Nussmeier is not the same quarterback as Jayden Daniels as far as skill set, right? There's things that Nuss can do, right, that Jayden can do. And certainly there's things Jayden can do that Nuss can't do.
Well,
but
that is kind of interesting, though, because I feel like the first part of that is still true, but less true. Like, things that Nuss could do last year, Jayden has been able to do this year.
Right. But Nuss is really good off platform and different things, and there's just, and that's not a slight at either one of those quarterbacks. They're just different quarterbacks, right? They're not completely different, but they are different quarterbacks. And so, like, this is a situation where if you have to roll with your backup quarterback, you've done this before with this player. Like, you've had moments with this player before, and so, like, you know, you can't go into a game thinking you're not going to put up points. This is still the number one offense in America, and it's because of Jayden Daniels, certainly, but it's also because you have a great group of receivers, maybe the best tandem in the country. You have a very quality back. You have an offensive line. You have all of those things. And so, Florida's going to score.
Yeah, like you have to accept that.
Ricky Pearsall is going to have big moments in this game.
If we're just being honest, you have to accept that it is more likely than not that they will. Like, if you're expecting LSU to just come out and shut down Florida, you're probably setting yourself up for a bad time. Now, if that happens, like, hell yeah. You know, we'll cheer, we'll celebrate it, we'll be fired up. But all I'm saying is, like, let's accept the reality that would be the surprise rather than the expectation. So just make peace with the fact that Florida will score and that you're going to have to outscore.
Here's the one thing that I think Jayden Daniels does as well as any quarterback in the country. Well, it's a couple things, but he takes care of the football, right? Yeah. I know he had an interception last game. That was somebody making a good play. Dallas Turner stopped his rush, put his hands up.
Dallas Turner, very good
ended
play.
Up into Alabama's arms, okay? But Jayden Daniels, even going back to last year, like, even Coach Kelly's like, hey, it's okay if you throw an interception. It's okay, right? This year he's been fantastic. He's not careless with the football, okay? You can't be careless with the football in this one. Like, if you're Garrett Nussmeier, we know that you can make every throw, but you don't have to show us sometimes that you can make every throw, because this offense, regardless of who the quarterback is, they know what the deal is. They know that they've got to play pretty close to perfect. They have to take care of the football. They can't give possessions away unless your defense comes out, right, and they have a different type of performance than they've had in other big games this year.
Yeah. And look, Nuss for his career has basically been a 1-to-1 guy from touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah.
So if he plays, that is going to be one of the main areas to focus on is, can he be explosive down the field, take advantage of these receivers, Nuss, while avoiding making mistakes. Now, to your point, Jake, look, let's just take a second and again appreciate what Malik Nabers is doing this year. He leads the country right now with 128 yards per game. He has 66 catches, which is good for 7th in the country.
Yeah.
He leads the country, obviously, overall in yards. He now has 10 touchdowns. That is 4th in the country. The leaders all have 11, so he's like catching up to them quickly. He is by far statistically the most complete receiver in the nation.
Can I say something about
over
Malik?
1,000 yards, 1,200 yards already.
All right, look, I know that Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of the best players in the country. I know he is. I know he's going to be a first-round pick. He's going to be a top 10 pick. Hell, he might be a top 5 pick. And so this is not a slight at him because I think he's all of those things. But we need to start including Malik Nabers in that same conversation with Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, because when you look, 52 catches for Harrison Jr., 66 for Malik, 914 for Harrison Jr., over 1,100 for Malik, 17.6 yards per catch for Harrison, 17.5 for Malik. When you look at touchdowns, let's see, Marvin Harrison's got 10. Guess how many Malik has? He's got 10. Okay, and also Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't have a Brian Thomas, who has incredible stats as well. Like, Malik Nabers is playing better than any receiver in the country. I don't care what your name is. I don't care what your pre-draft hype was. I don't care what you did a year ago. Malik Nabers is playing better than any receiver in the country. And it is wild. Like, we talk about it here, obviously, on this show. T-Bob does other shows. I don't know if y'all talk about it. Every time I'm doing off campus, everybody wants to bring up the best receiver in the country, and he never gets into that conversation. I've got to stop the show, and I've got to do exactly what I just did. Malik Nabers is playing better than any receiver in the country. There might be some that are in the same class. There ain't nobody right now playing better, though.
See, that's interesting because I feel like Malik and the conversation that I have generally does get mentioned. But I would say that if I looked at Biletnikoff finalists right now, it would definitely be Maserati Marv, Malik, Rome Odunze, I would have in there. I'd have Keon Coleman in there, likely.
Keon, he's missed some time, and so it's kind of his numbers.
That's true.
Have gotten a little skewed because
I guess.
of it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So maybe not in the actual Biletnikoff finalist award, but you have seen Keon Coleman start to take over for Florida State here later on, and like if Florida State's going to go to the playoff, Keon Coleman's going to be as good as anybody. I guess that's what I mean. He is in that grouping of talent. You're right. Even though because he missed time, he won't win it.
Probably be Malik, Rome.
And then Luther Burden.
Luther Burden certainly in that conversation. Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe Troy Franklin from Oregon.
Yeah. I would put Franklin in there. Yeah, absolutely.
He might be in that conversation. But, again, this is not – like Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to play a long time in the NFL. This is not like let's talk about him conversation. This is me championing for Malik Nabers to get his due, okay, because – he is look at what he just did last weekend in Tuscaloosa. I mean, it's time and time again. In the biggest moments, right? I mean, he is a player that flashes. I'm not going to sit here and talk about a drop he had when you're down 14 on the 4th down. I know a lot of people want to talk about that. Guess what? If he catches that, even if he turns it up for a touchdown, he's still not going to win that game. Okay? Yeah, so, just what he did last weekend just continues to let everybody in the country know, even though they don't talk about it, that he is one of, if not the best receivers in the country.
And if Jayden Daniels is out, he's going to be a bit of a safety blanket for Garrett Nussmeier. So you're going to really have to rely on him to beat the Gators this weekend. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.